had to wrestle with the idea, like, this is kind of like a selfish thing I feel like I'm doing. But in a way, it's like an outlet for me. So I feel better when I go back to my family. I'm like, after a stream, I'm always like, hey, kids, hey, wife. Like, I'm always like, I'm all smiles, you know? So it's like, in a way, it's like a dopamine drug fix.
Nicest guy on the internet. And speaking of the devil, we have the illustrious, the biohazard himself, also known as Kurt, Hazardousgc with the Surge shirt. Hazardous, how are we, my friend?
All right. I can hear you. I can see you. It's good stuff.
Look at you, man. You look great today. You must have been really excited, too. I was just telling Steve I could barely sleep last night. I was so excited for this.
I set 3 alarms just in case. And then between my first alarm and second alarm, I had a nightmare that I missed it. I woke up I was supposed to already be there.
Oh, my God.
I know it's not Thursday, but I threw on the tank top for you. I'm not sure.
Nice. Very nice.
Feeling the gains.
Yeah.
Guns. I love it.
Oh, man. Look at you, man. Now, I don't know how many people are watching right now that are unfamiliar with Hazardous, but Hazardous loves to work out. Can we get a quick gunshot real quick, Hazardous? Look at that. Wow-wee.
Always. I'm not shy.
Wow. You skipped Clark Kent and went straight to Superman with that look. You know that? You slipped Clark Kent and went straight to Superman. Now, Hazardous, I'm really curious about you because you've got a very unique look when it comes to streaming, in my opinion. A lot of people on stream, they'll either play video games, they don't really interact with the camera, and you're very heavily chat-based. But I think a lot of that, too, is because you have a really outgoing personality. I think that's kind of linked back to your arm sleeve, right? I mean, can we get a little background on those tattoos? I mean, that one on the right especially must have taken forever.
Yeah, this one took 8 hours straight in the chair.
Oh, my God.
I was 20 years old, and I knew exactly what I wanted out of life, and I knew it was going to be this tattoo.
Oh, my God. That is some branding there, too, because that's the same logo on your stream, isn't it?
Yeah. So the guy that you see on my just starting screen, I commissioned an artist to draw art inspired by cyberpunk, and with my likeness for that just starting screen. So that was very intentional.
That's sick. Yeah, we just noticed. We're like, holy shit! That whatever art that is that you got is just so sick for that loading screen.
Yeah.
But
what's funny story about this tattoo is I drew on my arm with marker in middle school, like similar designs, like all throughout my arm. And I would come home, my mom would freak out. My mom would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And, the next day, she's like, "Don't do that again." And the next day, my dad brings me some like a pack of non-toxic markers. He's like, "Here, if you're gonna fucking draw on yourself, you might as well be safe about it."
Yeah.
Whatever he thought in his mind was like, you know.
Oh, that's great. What did the kids in middle school have to say about it? Did they think that you were like a freak for doing it, or were they just like, that's kind of sick?
Probably.
Yeah.
Do you remember Andrew? Do you know Andrew WK?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I had a T-shirt of him where his album cover was like all bloody on his nose, right? Everything was just like gushing, and it was just him, and it was just like Andrew WK, and then it was just his face all gushing. And then I wore that to school one time, and I had the drawing on my arm from the day before, so like I must have gone to school, and everyone was probably like, "This kid's a fucking psycho." And I just liked Andrew WK, you know, like that heavy hype music, dude. That was the shit that got me going.
That's hilarious. I mean, was that a lot of high school and middle school though for you? Like, did you does that type of stuff sort of like define you? You were just kind of like that quirky kid who would do stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always, even to this day, I strive to be unique. I don't like having things or owning things or doing things that like everybody else is doing. I need to stand out. Like, it's almost like something that I intentionally do and think about throughout the day. Like, I gotta stand out. I just, it's in my DNA, and I don't know what it is. It's like super unexplainable, but it's like this yearning desire to just stand out and to do something that no one else has done, or to be someone that no one else has been. And that's how I've lived my entire life.
Are you an only child?
No, I have a younger brother. He's about 3 years younger than me.
Okay, so yeah, I'm an only child, but I think the exact same way. I hate I don't want to cop anyone else's style because then it seems sort of ingenuine, you know? It's like, why would you even do
Mhm.
it if it's not just the original thing that you rocked? Which is tough because, you know, you find inspiration in so many places. You kind of feel like you don't want to cheat yourself out on some of these things too.
Yeah,
Well,
that's right,
yeah, I'm curious
100%.
how you got into streaming and how this all started because um, you're freaking sweet at it, and so I'm interested how you got into this.
It all started with Instagram. I found out that my one of my biggest passions was video games, and I wanted to start preserving video games. Even though I consider myself a collector, I also like preserving like parts of my childhood, right? And then parts of my childhood that I didn't get to experience, like other games that I wasn't, I guess, privileged enough to have or to experience. I also wanted to experience those as an adult, to where I could fully understand them, and I thought that was important to me, and it was important to my kids too. My wife says that's an excuse to just spend money and buy a lot of video games, but I do like to give my kids those opportunities to play these older games too. So it started with Instagram. I was posting pictures of my collection and my game room, my setups, and then I started building like a slow following of Instagram peeps throughout this like whole collector community. And then one day, I think it was around like maybe like 1,000 followers or 1,100 followers on Instagram that I became inspired by these YouTubers called Game Grumps on YouTube. They're hilarious. They're like very slapstick, and they're two buddies who play video games. They're not even on camera, so they just talk shit and play video games. And one day I'm showing my wife. My wife and I are watching. I was like, babe, fucking do this. Like, we're funny as fuck. Like, let's go, dude. Let's like make a YouTube channel tomorrow. Let's get in front of a camera. Let's play some games, be ourselves, and then we'll roll with it. We'll see where it goes. And I was so desperate to just get to entertain people. And it was once I commissioned somebody who became a really good friend of mine. I commissioned someone who's an artist to do some artwork for our YouTube channel. And then he was like, yeah, like I stream on Twitch too, so come by sometime. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember Twitch from one of my buddies, Turtle, who does it. He just started streaming on Twitch, and I know him in real life. So I was like, okay, so like this must be like a popular thing, right? Little did I know that it was like this: be whoever you want to be, do whatever you want to do, like no filter. And I thought that's what I want right there, like in front of a live audience. Are you kidding? You mean I don't have to edit 8 hours of footage to just like get to like a 12-minute video? Like that's insane. Like let's just do this. Let's do it raw. Let's do it raw and live.
Right.
So
And you
um
get to interact with the people too, which is huge,
oh
right? Because
man.
you're so much of your show is shouting people out. You've got a really tightly knit community. It seems like you know almost anyone that comments in the chat.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't have the best memory, but damn, like when some people come in the chat, I'm like, we've already interacted enough to where like I know enough about you to get excited when I see you. And that's how I think everyone should feel. Like they when they come into like a Twitch is different from like a television broadcast where you don't get to interact, right? But you get to interact personally with the host, and I think that's awesome. And for me, like being in quarantine, I'm very extroverted, and this is like great for me. This is like a great outlet for me, and it's something I look forward to every single week.
Hmm. Yeah. So
100%.
did you? So you say you're extroverted, and there's Twitch is this thing with no filter and all of that. Did you have any initial insecurities when you started streaming? Because I mean, it is you really are putting yourself out there on the internet with a lot of people. Anyone can say whatever they want about you. Is that something you had to overcome, or were you always pretty comfortable with that?
I think my only insecurity was my knowledge with about Twitch and my knowledge about like how everything is ran, the video, the audio, the gameplay, like the quality. I think because that says a lot about what you personally put into the amount of effort and time that you spend off stream to put into your overall brand and your product. And I think when you go into someone's stream, you can see how nice it looks and how clean it looks and how like the transitions are and the art, and it's unique. You can tell they put a lot of work and a lot of effort off stream, and hours either spent away from their family or their friends, and they've actually dedicated that time. They're they look forward to doing that and to providing that kind of quality for their channel. So I think
And
in the beginning, when like things didn't work out, or like I was muted half the time, or like you start learning little things, it's I think that was my biggest insecurity. It's personality is not one of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's also um, Twitch is this thing where it's like, you are the creator of your own little realm, and especially in your case where you're just kind of doing this on your own. You make every decision that happens on your Twitch channel, so you know, it's kind of like just being a god in a way, and in a good way. And it's, I was just wondering if there was like previously before you started streaming, did you have creative outlets that kind of let you do the same, have that same special project that is yours to control and do what you want with? Did you have a different creative outlet that way?
Yeah, it was YouTube. Right after Instagram, when I started YouTube with my wife, that's where I learned everything I know about audio and video and editing and um, just like creating, like thinking ahead, right? Thinking about like what game we're gonna play or what we're gonna talk about, and or even prepping, right? Because fun fact, I get nervous before every single stream. Like I get like like I have to like hang on to something. It's almost like stage fright in a way. Like I do get nervous. It's not like an insecurity thing, but I do get nervous. Like you're about to go on stage in front of like 2,000 people, and put on a show. You can't fuck up and all these things, right? Um, but like with YouTube, it was a huge outlet for me. I thought about it every day. Like when I was at work, I would go nuts because I'm thinking of like, I just want to record. I just want to edit. I want to be a part of what I'm excited for this new journey, and I want to just consume myself with it. And it's kind of a curse because I do obsess over like new hobbies and new things. And so when I start something, I go all in. And I think YouTube was a really good doorway into Twitch. And now that I'm into Twitch a lot more so than YouTube now, it's almost easier to think about doing YouTube in the future.
yeah, you touched on something that's pretty interesting too. I mean, a lot of people just from your production quality might think that you do this full time because your stream looks phenomenal every single time. It's crisp. Like I feel like I'm watching a Spielberg movie. It's just out of this world.
Thanks, man.
But I mean, you are like a 9 to 5 guy when you're not streaming. And I just
Mhm.
think that's hilarious. And you said you were on a Zoom call and you were with everyone else that you worked with. And you've got the setup that you have now, and everyone else is over there talking about Q3 budget or something. And you're just like spot the streamer. I mean, did you think that people on the other end, they're just like, what the hell is this guy doing in the off time? Or do you let them know? How does that go down?
So no one at work knows I do this. If they did, I would have like some concerns. But
Well, big surprise, we have Hazardous LLP here watching the stream with us today.
they they know that, like, so they've heard that I stream, but they don't know where I stream. They don't know like what my name is or anything. So we have touched on that, but that's as far as it's ever gone. They've never pried and said like, what's your channel name? Like, I want to watch it. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So
Do
thankfully
you
they're
hide
not
that
like
from them? Yeah, do you hide that from them because you think like, it's still like kind of an odd thing to be on Twitch or something like that because a lot of people don't really understand what it is, and it's got this connotation of being like nerdy, misfitty type of thing. And I think Twitch is so much more than that, especially now in the past few months, even developing through quarantine. Is that part of the reason why you don't tell them at work? Like, is there a little bit of embarrassment that you carry with, or is it a little uncomfortability or something?
When people hear Twitch, they think of like Ninja. They hear all the people that are in the articles and in the spotlight and in the news, right? They hear maybe like Doctor Disrespect, or they hear these other, when they hear Twitch, they think video games, right? And of course, like you've seen the show where sometimes I don't even get to play video games, so it's not even all that. So for me to sit down with a coworker that I rarely even connect with anyway, to start explaining like all there is to know about Twitch, to me that just feels exhausting. And there's just so
Yeah.
much, and unless you're in the Twitch space, it's hard to really get someone to really understand the level of Twitch from an outside perspective.
Right. And then it's weird too, because if you go into it with them and you're talking to them so in depth about Twitch, they start to wonder, like, I mean, where's this guy's head at? You know what I mean? Like, is he trying to put food on the table here at the office, or is he just trying to be the next, David Dobrik or something?
I work in a very so what I do for a living is I work for an investment firm, and I calculate pension benefits for retirees, people who are about to retire and who worked for said company. My job is to calculate how much they're going to get for the rest of their lives. And it's like taking a math test every day that you have to get 100% on every time, or you'll get yelled at, or you'll fuck up and you'll make somebody really mad, and they'll call back and escalate, and it'll be not okay.
And then you have to kill them to make it look like your math test was right.
Yeah. So it's what I do is very serious work, and if they learn that I do this, and I'm very like maybe more animated than I am in the office on camera, right? Because we Zoom all the time now. Or if I swear and like do all these things, I say all these lewd things, then I might be perceived different in my corporate workspace, and that's not something I'm ready to have.
Right.
Maybe unless like I thought about doing this full time, or I was in the position to do like content creating full time, then I'd be like, all right, you guys, I mean, I'm probably out of here. I'm on my way out in like the next couple months anyway. You guys can think what you want, sort of thing. But we're not there yet.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I feel that too, because I work a pretty corporate 9 to 5 as well. So yeah, I get what you're saying. It's just not worth having those conversations, because like, you don't really, the person you're telling it to probably doesn't really care that much. So it's like, I'm not gonna go into all this explaining of what I'm trying to do in my free time. But
exactly.
But the thing is, for you too, like, you're someone who really wants to do this for like, you're like, you put in the time, and it's very obvious to tell. So like, when you see some people on the platform that are extremely successful, and maybe you feel like their quality of content is subpar, does that rile you up a little bit? How do you approach something like that? Because you're so interactive with the chat and use the platform, I think, for what it's intended to be. There are some people who go on just chatting, and if they're in the fortunate position of being a 10 out of 10 girl, they can just sort of stare at a camera and get 1,500 viewers concurrently.
It's tough because everybody starts somewhere, right? It just depends on how long you've been streaming, and if, say, you've just been playing the same video game, or or maybe you're just lasered in and focused on the content or not the chat the whole time, and you're doing that for a year or 2 years, and you're expecting change, you're expecting growth without trying something different, right? Trying to innovate, trying to really stand out. That is for some people, but it's those real conversations that we have to have. Like I said earlier, I thrive on standing out, and I want to bring something to the table that no one else is doing. And I think, especially now with how, I'm gonna sound like this guy, right? How saturated Twitch is, you have to stand out, and you're going to stay relatively at the bottom for a year or 2 years if that's what it takes. But as long as you're innovating, and as long as you're changing something, it's going to feel new to you, and it's going to feel new to everybody else, and they're going to come back like not even knowing what to expect. And I mean, but there's nothing wrong with playing the same game, having the same content. If you have an audience that comes and they like that gaming consistency, and maybe you're really good at the game, maybe you just crush it, and or maybe you're striving to be a better gamer or at that game. There's nothing wrong with that either. But I think there will come a time where you'll have to have that serious thought that if you really want to go far, if you really want to start mixing things up, you're going to have to change. You're going to have to do something, maybe market somewhere else, start another social media platform, or get on YouTube, learn how to edit, learn how to make thumbnails, like those sorts of things. Like, you're going to have to challenge yourself. I mean, I think everybody has that intent at some point. Like they start out, they're playing a game, but then when they get to a point, they're like, "Hey, I'm not seeing much growth." I feel like that's when it triggers in their brain. That's like, I gotta do something different. Maybe I gotta dress up. Maybe I gotta do some crazy things like squat my chair, or maybe I gotta, have a drink on stream, get loose. Um, I don't think there's a wrong way to do Twitch. I think if you're trying to be successful at Twitch, that's where um, you'll have to challenge yourself.
Yeah,
Of course. Of course. I mean, you touched on just a bunch of great stuff there. I mean, because your content has almost turned into this thing where even though Twitch might be viewed as sort of a gaming primary platform, you're sort of like this entertainment, comedic routine sort of thing where the gaming is almost turned into something that's ancillary, important, right? But
Mhm.
you're really trying to make people laugh more than anything rather than show how good you are at, Call of Duty or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think in the beginning I would preach on like no saturated games, no Warzone, no Apex, no Fortnite, like those heavy hitters like everyone's playing and everyone enjoys playing. But even if like that's the case, like if you could do it and then like do it in a way that no one else is doing it, boom, like there you go. Maybe you have some like flashy transitions or some flashy overlay that makes you stand out and that was customized that you commissioned someone to do, um, that no one else has access to. Like that to me is like a step in the right direction.
yeah. Well, so in our previous conversation, you mentioned that in a lot of aspects you do treat your streaming like a business. So I was wondering if that had any impact on, um, kind of how you interact with streaming as to before when maybe there wasn't any sort of revenue involved. Is there ever like maybe a Tuesday where you're just like, oh man, like it feels more like a job than it's a hobby, or has it really stayed in that hobby feel that you just kind of have the added bonus of maybe generating some revenue off of?
It's funny you mentioned like treating it like you hit the go live and you're just like, well, it's time to work, right? It's time to get to work. It actually feels since COVID, it actually feels like something I desperately look forward to for that outlet, for that release of energy that I have built up. I'm still like right here all day at my workspace, and then when I shift this way, I'm in my personal space. Um,
Yeah.
I had to in the beginning when I was working from home because my job is 100% from home. I I um I I thought like this is going to be dangerous. I don't know if I can see my fun space the same anymore because I have to be in it all day and work. What helps is like I have LED lights everywhere. You guys might have seen it like on Instagram or Twitter. um I change the LEDs sometimes like during the workday, and then when I stream I change it to a different color. That way I see my setup in like a different light, so to speak.
Yeah. No,
So
that's really interesting. Yeah. It's
w-
there's something.
treating the stream like a oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there's something subconscious about that, right? Of the just you're in the same room, but if you can, change some small aspect of the environment, it can trigger something that maybe makes you feel happier, more open
100%.
or loose, or
Yeah.
not in that work terms of job mindset.
Mhm.
Hazard, I've been wondering, man, what does your wife do or hear while you're in that room streaming? Because you are like a crazy banshee in there. I mean, you're screaming, you're lifting chairs, you're throwing weights around. I mean,
uh,
what? I'm surprised she hasn't come over there and knocked a flower vase over your head.
she you know as far as I know she doesn't mind it, right? She does. There was one time I remember when I have a deadlift bar back here and occasionally when I'll throw out some deadlifts I slam it down on the ground, and she's two rooms over most of the time in our game room, just gaming or watching a show, and
This
she
is not the
hears that
game room
bar.
that you're in right now?
No, this is like the office slash
Oh
studio.
my gosh. I'm
Yeah.
jealous. Yeah, so she's over there.
She's over there, and she'll one time I slammed it really hard and I realized it. Like I thought, wow, I was pretty that's kind of hard. And I go back and I read everything in the chat, and she's in there saying like, "Don't break my fucking floor." You know, she likes to stir the pot, and she does it in a very comedic way. That's why I love her. I'm very grateful to have her in my corner, and grateful to have her support in doing all of this, you know. And I spend 2, 4, 7 hours a week in here alone with everybody else, with everyone who comes into the channel, away from my wife, away from my kids. It's like, in a way, I had to wrestle with the idea, like, this is kind of like a selfish thing I feel like I'm doing, but in a way it's like an outlet for me. So I feel better when I go back to my family, and I'm like after a stream, I'm always like, "Hey kids, hey wife," like I'm always like, I'm all smiles, you know. So it's like, in a way, it's like a dopamine drug fix, but I feel like in some weird way that I can justify it, I feel like I'm better for my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious about your kids. Do they share your love for video games at this age?
Yeah. My youngest loves all the older games too, especially, like, of course, all the new games, like all the current gen stuff, but he'll play like on an Xbox or a PS2 or even an NES. He popped in Friday the 13th on the NES the other day.
I've never
Like,
played
Dad,
it.
help with the NES.
That's awesome.
Oh man.
So he's into the old school stuff. At least he's got good taste, right?
Yeah. My oldest turned his nose up at it. Anything that's like PS4 or Xbox One and under, he just wants nothing to do with it. He's like, that's old news. That's like, it's garbage. It's trash. It's dirty. Like, he doesn't want it. But they do have a huge video game influence. And that's because of my wife and I preserving and collecting these video games, that they have all this access to like anything and all different types of genres, all different consoles. I think right now we're at above 1,100 physical copies of video games across, I think, like 35 consoles, including handhelds.
You guys are going to need a
like,
vacation house just for your consoles and games.
Funny you mention that. We're renovating a space in our house and knocking down walls, combining 2 rooms to make for a larger game room because we're outgrowing the current one.
For sure. Now, have you ever thought about bringing your kids or your wife on stream or anything like that? Or do you feel like that would sort of dilute the brand? I mean, what goes to your head is thinking it in terms of Twitch as a business?
So my kids definitely not. But my wife is no stranger to the channel. She has been on the channel a lot in the early times of the stream. She's made numerous appearances and is always fun. Everyone always like greets her with open arms. Everyone's like super excited, like, "Oh my god!" My wife goes by Danger, so everyone's just like, "Danger! Oh my god, it's crazy town," and that's cool to see. It's cool to see like everyone treating her with the same amount of respect that they treat me. And we have a camera failure, huh?
Yeah.
We have we have a massive camera failure, and I'm gonna play it cool while we go through this. I apologize, but it's okay because we are coming up on our game, Hazardous.
Well,
cool. I'm excited.
So just to go off what you just said, Hazard, your community greets your wife with open arms, and that says something to me about the community that you have built. And I think that's something that's super important. I think a lot of streamers are very aware of, but maybe viewers aren't as aware, is building a community that's supportive and good, and that's the type of stuff. Building that community is going to be a lot more beneficial in the progress of your channel, I feel, as opposed to not trying to have that good solid community that is just supporting what you're doing. So is there any tips or thoughts you have on that in terms of how you approach specifically building your community
outside of getting a camera battery that can stay alive?
I was very much so when I saw how much fun a lot of the early streamers that I watched were having, it was all just positive vibes, right? It was all supporting. It was greeting everybody with open arms. Like, I got the inspiration of playing music well, anytime any one person came into the stream, I was like, I love that. I love like the idea of making somebody feel genuinely special just to come by and just say, hey, whether they're there for like 2 seconds or they're here to stay. It's, I got to play some music. I got to get you hyped. I need you to hype me up. Like it works both ways. And I love that. I love that idea of that personalization and the positivity that sprouts from it. And I'm not a very like toxic gamer, right? I don't rage too much. I say too much because off stream, when I play competitive games in like Destiny PvP or something, I can get a little crazy. But like when like on stream, like I play like single player games. I don't necessarily play a lot of multiplayer games. In fact, I think I've only played Destiny like a couple times. So for me to play a competitive game is very rare on stream, but single player games, I get to be who I want to be, experience the game how I want to experience it. And that gives people like a sense of positivity. I think there's not a lot of rage. There's not a lot of like shit talking. So I think in return makes for a very positive community, right? And they understand that it just comes naturally to them. And anyone new coming in, I get this all the time. Like, oh my God, I'm new here. I love the vibes. I love the energy. It's crazy. And that is like that is such a huge compliment. Like to know that like someone brand new who's only been here for 2 minutes can understand the kind of community that they're in, you know?
Yeah, I definitely felt that the first time. I mean, me and Max were actually on Discord together when we first stumbled upon your stream, and we were just, we felt that energy from the get go, and we threw in some comments. We were just clowning you a little, and like you were just so like you're willing to laugh at yourself, willing to engage with chat, laugh with chat, mess around, clown around. So we just loved that, and those. So we definitely get that immediate connection with your community, immediate realization of what you've built. So that's super awesome.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm no one special, right? I'm only human. And if you can't laugh at yourself, dude, like I just, even if I own it, I mess up, I own it. Or if I say something wrong or inappropriate, I own it. And I think what's really important is just showing people that you like, maybe if something like doesn't bother you that much, like it's okay not to be like that reactive. And I'm not a very like reactive person. I'm just like, well, all right. Like I don't like confrontation like a whole bunch. Like I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
If it's necessary, like if someone's up in my stream being a clown, you better believe everyone's gonna jump on him, right? We're gonna throw that hammer down, dude. But
well, no, the reason I love you so much is exactly because of what you said. Is I went in there and it was like my first day on Twitch or second day on Twitch. I had no idea what it was like. And my initial instinct is just to go and troll people because that's like the funniest thing to do when you first get on it, right? And I go onto your channel, your Twitch stream, and I go to you, hey, do you have any clean needles lying around? Which is either implying one, you use steroids because you're massive, or two, you're a heroin addict. And you come back and you laughed at it. And anyone else would have banned me on that. And I thought that was the funniest thing ever. I think I subbed like right away after that.
I do remember that. That's hilarious. And even like in my channel, if someone comes in, like I've made friends of people who came in who are either trolling or just being like a nuisance, right? Like coming in just acting a fool, and usually the people who mod for me are really close friends, and they know how I am already. They know that we like to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? Like first impressions are everything. And then maybe you came in like a little strong, but we give them a chance to like redeem themselves, either to like apologize if they said something really nasty. Like it's either if they keep on persisting that they're like, hey, I'm here to troll, then you're gone. Sorry, can't have that.
Well, yeah, that's how you maintain your community of great people.
Yeah,
for sure.
And people get that already. I think by now I've been doing this almost a year exactly. And by now it's like people know that, like, all right, let's see how Hazard handles this, let's see how Hazard handles this guy. and it's usually great. It's usually fun. I stay loose. I stay calm, because internet's internet. The sooner everyone realizes that, like it's like you're on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, but it's happening to you in real time, and people get to see your facial expressions when it happens. And if you can't understand that it's the internet, then people are gonna be like, whoa, like they're gonna have this perception of you that like maybe you can't handle a couple of jabs or like a little bit of negative feedback, and especially in my corporate world, I'm all about taking feedback. I get feedback all the time with what I do. So I think that translates well into like what I do here on Twitch.
For sure. Well, I don't know about you, Steve, but I think this is actually a perfect segue into our game that we have set up for you, Hazardous, if you're ready to play it.
I'm ready, dog. I'm ready.
So what I'll do is I will share my screen and I'll give you the introduction into the game that we've designed solely for you.
Oh shit.
And inspired by you and that first comment that I made on your stream that got me addicted to the Hazardousgc stream. I present to you Natty or Needled. You have to guess whether or not the person in the picture has accusations of PED usage. And if you're right, you and Steven are going to play against each other. If you're right, Steven will, and if Steven's wrong, Steven will gift one sub in your channel. And then if you're wrong, Steven's still going to gift you a sub in your channel because you're so nice for coming up on here. So
I thought you were gifting the subs. Wait, this is your game. What are you talking about? You're the one gifted the subs.
I will be gifting the subs. That's right. But
oh my God.
The first one that we have up here is Notice World Series champion.
You're not sharing your screen. I don't believe.
Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. I must have forgotten to click ready to go. But no, I am. I'm not sharing my screen.
You are. My bad. I had the wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
Hazardous, you can see it too, right? Hazardous, you can see it?
Yes.
Cool. So you have noted slugger, Boston Red Sox star, all-star outfielder, World Series champion, member of the 500 home run club, Manny Ramirez. And I'm going to ask you if you could walk through your thought process a little bit on your way in here. Manny Ramirez, do we think natty or needled?
So I'm going to tell you, I'm not a sports fan or of any kind of sport.
I figured that.
Same. Same.
So this is
That's why this is going to be great.
Manny Ramirez, huh? Never heard the name.
I swear, if I see you Googling, you're gonna get a strike, my friend.
No. Never heard the name. What's funny is like I used to live in Massachusetts like for like half my life. I'm gonna say natty, bro. He's natty to me.
Well, okay.
Hazardous with the natty. Let me take note of this. We have Hazardous with the natty.
So,
and we'll have Steven. Now, Steven, what do you think of this, knowing that you have an advantage here, that Hazardous has gone first?
Yeah.
So you could fade him and think that you're going to get a point, but if you're wrong, Hazardous will take the lead on you, and that's already putting yourself in a hole just after the first slide. So you could play conservative and say that he is also natty, like Hazardous did.
You know, I got my strategy. I got my strategy. Looking at this guy, just straight up, it seems to me you picked a picture that doesn't, overly sell how jacked he is. And I know that baseball has quite a bit of steroid usage involved in the sport. So my thought is needled. I think this dude's needled. I think you threw a kind of a curveball, no pun intended, on the picture, trying to make it look like he's not that jacked. I think this dude's huge. I think he's hitting homers out the park because he's juicing.
We have Steven as needled. He says we threw him a curveball, Manny's favorite pitch. Needled!
Nice.
Steven with the lead.
Nice.
Sweet.
All righty. That was an exciting first one. At the turn, we have Steven 1, Hazardous 0. Hazardous, the workout fiend, can't seem to be able to pick out the body type that uses the PEDs. Interesting twist here. How much time do you really spend in the gym, my friend? Going on to our second notable figure. Our second notable figure is Will Tennyson. Will Tennyson is a bodybuilder on YouTube. He is known for his community that follows him like rabid dogs, and he spreads positively, very similar to our very own Hazardous GC. Will was a former chubster in high school, and the inspiration behind his YouTube channel was to discuss his original weight loss journey. Now Will is sponsored by online marketing giant Gymshark. Do we think that Will Tennyson, our generation's Arnold Schwarzenegger from that picture, is natty or needled?
I'll start just to even it out, actually, just because you had
Please do so.
I had the advantage last round. So off top, his chest is looking huge. His shoulders are looking huge. Everything just makes me want to believe he's using steroids, but just based on I'm going again off the picture. I think you're leaning. You made a huge picture that makes him look needled, but I think that's actually just a curveball, and I'm gonna say natty.
A curveball for a weightlifter. I'm not sure if his esoteric muscles can handle that kind of spin on the seams, but Steven has locked in as natty, even after looking at those pulsating veins and that busty chest of his. He says he's natty. We go on to Hazardous, who actually has triceps, unlike Steven.
That hurts.
So, just looking at this guy, man, chisel as fuck. It's not uncommon to see a physique this way, especially since genetics play a huge factor, right? I've seen chests like that before. I've seen delts like that before. Even like the striations, like not just how laser cut the chest is, but the striations, right? Like that's just an indication of very lean muscle and maybe little to no water on that particular day. So I would say this is definitely achievable. So I will go with natty.
Hazardous agreeing with his foe on the other side. So no one will gain a point here, except there are bragging rights. Will Tennyson is a noted au natural natty. He preaches about it on his YouTube channel, and he makes fun of everyone who uses steroids. Will Tennyson, natty, and it makes me feel worse about myself every day.
Love to see it. Love to see it.
Yes, good for him.
Coming up on the third round of Natty or Needled. This man is most famous for being Sheryl Crow's ex-husband. He is out of his home state of Texas into Colorado and finished with the lowest overall time at the Tour de France 7 straight times. Also notable that he only has one functioning testicle due to his cancer diagnosis. Gentlemen, starting with you, Hazardous GC. Do we think Lance Armstrong is natty or needled?
Lance Armstrong is 110% needled.
Hazardous pays attention to socials, to culture, current events.
Not just that, but actually I got into cycling for like a hot minute and was following him very closely. I went as far as wearing the Livestrong bands. So for me to find that out was not necessarily surprising just because of all these previous accusations. I guess I was just numb to it at that point, and just like, well, now we have some like validity, but yeah.
I gotta say, Max, this one you really just lobbed one. You lobbed one right at us because this one's just easy. Everyone knows Lance Armstrong's needled. That's pretty pretty common knowledge.
You guys do not live under a rock. Lance Armstrong is needled, and boy, oh boy, did his life spiral until that 60 minutes after interview where he talked about it. Although I will say, I don't blame him because it sounds like everyone was juicing in cycling at that time.
Yeah.
Coming up at number 4.
What the?
After finishing second in Miss Olympia in 1993, Denise Rutkowski, otherwise known as the Golden Panther, abruptly retired from the sport of bodybuilding to attend Bible school in her home state of Texas, coincidentally Lance Armstrong's home state. She was arrested in 2012 for, ironically, evading arrest. Gentlemen, does this 1993 second place finisher in the Miss Olympia qualify as natty, or is she needled?
Well, first thought is there's some facial hair in this photo. This is not a great photo. I'm sure if Denise saw this stream, she'd be a little sad that you used this photo. But
no, this is her mugshot, actually. I found her mugshot.
Okay. So there's some facial hair. She just looks a mess. She looks a mess. This might be one of the worst days of her life. But I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. For some reason, something just gives me some sympathy. I'm going to say natty. Don't know why, 100%.
Steven going with the route that maybe Denise just had a few too many natty lights behind the wheel, and that's what got her behind bars. Steven locking in natty. Hazardous, what say you?
Well, I do agree that this is not a very good picture of herself. With the facial hair growing, that is an indicator to me that there has been some testosterone supplements used, whether or not they were legal testosterone or maybe like doctor prescribed testosterone boosters. Not necessarily saying like steroids, but being a some second place Olympian could give it away that Olympians do. It's not uncommon. I mean, everyone knows that everybody juices if you're an Olympian or at the top level. So I will say she is not natty.
Hazardous, giving her reason to say, you weren't born with that facial hair, toots. It's from the drugs. And who's the right answer? Needle! Denise is quoted as saying steroids, quote unquote, ruined her life. And boy, oh boy, does she show it in this picture. 2012 and doesn't look a day over 90. All right. Coming into our final picture. And this might be the game changer for everyone. This might be where it all crumbles because boy, oh boy, we are tied 3-3 here. Hazardous with 3, Steven with 3. An impressive showing from both of you.
Here we go.
The final contestant in Natty or Needled is someone very near and dear to our hearts. The illustrious Hazardous GC.
Look at the kitty, dude.
Oh my god. That picture is too good.
Love it.
As you can tell by this chiseled bone structure, this noted streamer hits the gym all the time. The question is he getting any of his help from Mr. Anabolic? Or is he just lifting those au naturel? I believe we started with Steven last time. So Hazardous, even though it's you, I know you know the answer. I'm going to defer to Steven anyway, because I think that would be a lot better for the stream.
Yeah. So, I mean, I look at the cat. I look at the. That's obviously the first thing your eyes are drawn to in this picture is there's a sleeping kitten on a shoulder, and it's just wonderful. You know, I've watched Hazard for a couple months now. He seems like just a genuine guy. I don't think he would go the route of needled. So I'm gonna say Natty.
Steven locking in his Natty. A man with triceps the size of Mount Rushmore. Coming in as Natty. A man who can somehow manage to lift his own gaming chair, which looks to be more than 300 pounds over his head with effortless ease, is Natty. Hazardous. Being that this is you, and I'm assuming your cat, are you Natty or are you Needle? And can we get the exclusive here on the AVE podcast?
Yeah, never touch this stuff.
And I didn't know the real answer, but an AV exclusive. Natty all day. Well,
Unless the bubbly kind of like, I mean, might not make me natty.
Some sort of supplement from the sparkling water. The bubbles do something.
It definitely depends on whether or not he's had a surge throughout the day. I will admit to that. But Hazardous comes clean by saying he's clean here on the AVE podcast. That leaves us at 4-4. Do not have a tiebreaker.
All right. That works.
I do not know how to settle this other than maybe just saying Hazardous. I mean, this has been one hell of a stream on here, and
That's
I
one
think
for the books.
we have a few people in here that have preferred admittance if they decide to jump in and join via Discord, that they can call in and ask you questions if they've asked from your stream. We do have something from the chat that says first to 25 push-ups is the tiebreaker. Steven, if you can maneuver your camera angle to do that, and Hazardous can throw on the Gundam cam and just do him on his desk, I think that would actually be a pretty good idea.
I could hit 25, honestly. My room's a mess. That's the only reason I don't want to, move my camera much is to, show that off.
We're doing a push off? Is that what we're doing?
We're doing a push-off, not the other kind of off, so calm down.
I feel like I gotta hit 25 push-ups for Hazardous,
I'll give Hazard the benefit of the doubt. He's doing it in the jeans. He's doing it in the jeans.
You think I didn't put on jeans for the Hazardous stream? You're dead wrong.
The groin shot from Steven.
Thank you. That's the glizzy shot.
All right. I will count.
Yeah,
On your mark. Get set. Steven, stop. All right. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Hazardous is the winner.
That was huge. That was the honor of a lifetime.
He took you to the cleaners, Steven. I will say that you did more overall push-ups because you started really early compared to Hazardous.
Did I?
But Hazardous was a machine doing those military-style push-ups. I felt like I was watching Save It Private Ryan. And on your end, Steven, I felt like I was watching Wall-E. If that gives you any sort of indication. Of
All right, Max. I see a power tower back there. I bet you couldn't do 20 dips.
I will not do that on stream in a dress shirt. I'll tell you that much. If I was wearing my own surge shirt, I'd give it a try. But there's enough product in my hair that I think it's added about 12 pounds to my body weight anyway. So we're going to hold that one off until the next stream. So in chat, like I said, we have a few preferred admittance people that we've given access to our Discord. So if any of those people want to call in and ask Hazardous a question, now would be the time. And I think that this stream, just in totality up to this point, has been absolutely incredible. I mean, Hazardous, you let us in on so many different aspects of streaming, your mindset towards it, and the idea of turning it into something that you can do full time, and not just from the monetary aspect, but it's because you really want to entertain people and make them laugh. I thought it was great that you opened up about all the stuff that you didn't know at first, because definitely I'm in that stage right now of not knowing what this whole thing is about. But it seems conquerable, and it's one of those things where it's inch by inch, and you know, the little advice that you're throwing around today has really helped sort of make sense a little bit for me. And also, it's just been awesome to talk to one of my favorite streamers, even though my camera died for 4 minutes halfway through the stream.
Well, I actually did have one additional question that I was curious about. So you did say your kids are into video games, so maybe as they get a little older, say 14, 15, maybe they start following streamers of their own that they like, and I mean they have this. Their father has all this knowledge already, all this equipment, and put all this time into setting up a stream of their own or of his own. So let's say they're 14, 15, and say, I kind of want to start messing with this. Is that something that you'd be comfortable with? Because I mean, it is putting yourself out there on the internet to a lot of people as a, as maybe not an adult. It's something that might be concerning. Have you put any thought into that?
Yeah, internet's a cruel place, man. Especially the kids. You hear all the time, or you see all these videos about people playing Fortnite with kids and having kids in the lobbies and stuff, and they're not very kind to them. I mean, some are okay. Like you see a lot of bad more than you do good, but the internet's a cruel place, and for a kid to have to handle that and to have to react to that live on stream and maybe say something that and not just my kids, but any kid, either he or she has reaction to, it could be very negative and very detrimental to what they're trying to do. Maybe they just had a bad experience and they don't want to stream forever. And I don't think it's kind of like drinking, right? It's kind of like just being responsible, being able to handle, talk to people, being able to take criticism. I think every kid's different, but for the general idea of children streaming, I think there should be a specific age. I don't know what that age. I think Twitch even has like 18. You got to be 18.
Is that their current rule?
I think you have to be 13 or 14 to have an account, though, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I do have. Yeah. I have had adolescents in my streams, right? It's not uncommon. I definitely prefer them not to tell me their ages, and usually when they do, I have to just delete the message, or I've banned them in some cases, right?
Yeah, we might have to ban Captain Cracked here. He just came out as a 13-year-old in chat.
Captain He's definitely Cracked. Not 13.
I figured.
He said 13 to stream. That's what he meant.
Oh, okay, 13 to stream. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think, especially my children, they're interested in it, of course, because they want to know more about like what I do, the ins and outs, the technology that goes behind it, but they don't know like the politics, the drama, the off-stream stuff, or like commissioning the artists, finding these people, having a relationship with your viewers in Discord and on social media platforms. Like they don't understand all that. They just see get in front of a camera, be a figure of some kind, and play games.
Yeah. So is that behind the scenes stuff something that you would, if say they are a little older and are interested in getting into streaming, would you, show them that behind the scenes stuff with your stream so that maybe they get, they can see all that goes into it more than just what we see on Twitch.tv?
I would probably offer some advice, some guidance. I would show them maybe the programs I use, some of the technology, how it works, how it's all plugged in. I think the fun part is sort of figuring it out for yourself. That way you develop like an avenue of how you set everything up and how you want it to be on your own. That way it's comfortable for you and you're not cookie cutting like someone else's like programs and like setup, and like that way, like if it doesn't feel like you're just copying somebody else, I would certainly offer that advice. I'll tell you personally, like if I were to go into something like this, and I probably wouldn't ask my dad for help because it would just feel weird. I'm just not that kind of a guy. So maybe my kids wouldn't even feel like they could approach me about it just because they have their own, they want to figure it out themselves.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't involve myself. I would, if they came to me for help, I would give them some guidance, but I wouldn't be like, oh, you're doing this wrong, or you should do that. You should be doing this. This is how you be successful. Like everyone has their own levels of success and everybody has their own ways of getting there.
Yeah. No, that's great.
If that's not a way to put a pin in this one, I don't know what is. It's beautiful because it's totally right. You can carve out your own path, and you don't always have to do exactly what the trail map shows you that you need to walk on. So I think you're a walking example of that. So
So what's
thanks
up
for
with this
doing
caller? Is this caller coming in, or here we got?
I think this caller got cold feet.
Oh my gosh! Holy
I think
crap!
this caller got cold feet.
That's just unacceptable. But yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, from both of us, definitely thank you for coming on, talking to us for about an hour and a half here today on a Saturday. I know it's your day off streaming, but no, we really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. And yeah, if anyone tuned in is interested in listening to the podcast, drop a follow. But I mean, we'll be in your chat for a long time coming here. We'll stay in touch, and maybe we'll do another podcast someday. It'd be super fun.
I'm open, man. I'm open to it, of course.
It sucks that the subs only end at 12 months. I wish there was a forever sub, the same way they did like postage stamps. Like I'd want one of those for your streams.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy. Who knows? Maybe you'd send that to recommendation on Twitch.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. I hope I get my cut of it if that's the case. Alrighty. Well, thanks to Hazardous for showing up. Steve, thanks for hosting this on your Discord and the AV podcast channel. I'm Max, and thanks for listening to the AV podcast. We'll see you again sometime soon.
Got to get flexes in there, guys. Get the flexes in there, baby.
Get some hype flexes, baby.
My wrist is the size of a baby carrot. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, thanks, guys. This was really a lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself. I look forward to being on again.
Yep. All right. Thanks, man. We'll catch you soon.
Later, guys. Thanks.
Peace.